Hello, I'm Wendy Mitchell. I'm here with Hisham Zaman, who is a great Norwegian filmmaker. I've loved his past films like Before Snowfall and Letter to the King. And now he has his new film, A Happy Day, world premiering in Toronto. It's such a moving film, but also really funny and inventive and playful in certain ways. Hisham, was the film inspired by real stories?
Thank you for the nice words. Yes, A Happy Day is, like my other films, is kind of a result of research I've done with migration stories. I think the first one was the idea, when the idea came to me, it was 2014, 15, when this global migration hit Europe and everywhere. So I felt in somehow outside my window, I could see refugees coming to the cities, and there was not much plan. We were like overwhelming of how many people were fleeing in that time, and how we didn't have a plan for how to receive them, how to deal with it. And I think a lot of people helped kind of go in and help the migrants. What struck me was many of the migrants was youth, the teenagers that came alone without parents. And I started then to do this research and go into this different asylum centers and see how they live, how they do it, how they survive in these places without any adult kind of family. And then I realized that there is a unity, or they were like family for each other, these kids. And I'm talking about kids that comes to Norway or any other European countries when they are 15. They get rejection when they are 16. They complain, or they have a lawyer to work with their case, and then they get 17. And when they get 18, because the system can't kick them out until they are 18. So when they're 18, they throw a birthday party for them, and then they pack their case and send them where they come from. Oh. So this is brutal, but I also saw some absurdism in the whole thing. That's where my also focus was, with a heavy theme like this one.
Yeah, one thing, I've just never seen a sort of refugee story quite like this. Because I think it has a lot of joy in it and really funny. I laughed out loud. Is it hard to sort of see the humor? Because it is quite a heavy situation, but you're saying you could see some absurdity in these situations.
I think it's very easy to connect tragedy, of course, which are also cases in refugees' life. But I myself was a refugee when I was from 10 to 17, so I also lived life. I also was young, and like other young kids. And it was also a lot of funny moments in the tragedy. Mm. So I think to capture this youth in a natural way, to capture their life, how they, or observe their life and see how they actually, in a way, finding to survive. I think humor is a part of it, and sometimes also how they use to write on the walls they live in these rooms, different words, but they have also kind of, skills for poetry, which is also one of the main character Hamid has. So I think when somebody wanted me to pitch this in the beginning of the project, I was like Kafka meets Beckett in Edvard Munch framing. It's the absurd realism meets the magic realism in a poetic setting. So this is somehow was perfect for the northern Norwegian landscape, where I also filmed Winterland. So yeah.
I also love that it's got love story or two in it, and it's this very youthful, big love. This teenage love is like all-consuming. How did you want to approach the love stories?
I think it's very. We are used to that. Love story is also between boy meets girl, which is a unique thing in this setting, especially when waiting for something to happen, because they are waiting. They have dreams that is maybe not easy to fulfill or to achieve, but they do not stop dreaming them. They still dreaming them, and the whole thing, this naivistic approach to the worldview, the way they think that the impossible is possible, is also something connected to teenagers, which I really love. And these two separate, for me, this trio, these three kids, they kind of they are family for each other. They love each other, they care about each other, and they cannot be one place without each other. They came together, they want to live together, and they have this escape plan in A Happy Day, which is in a funny way by using potato, how to kind of flee this place, which is impossible to flee because they are in a no man land, and we also not saying where we are. We neither not saying where they are from and where they are going to be sent home, because this is a crucial thing for me to make it universal. And then this girl, kind of rebellion girl, comes in and destroys this escape plan. And then this love story between Hamid and Aida is beautiful because they kind of they have lost something on the road to Europe. They lost something. Something happened to them. And this thing, of course, you will discover in the film. But this is also makes the love story beautiful because they are weird in their own way, and this is also creating humor in the whole love story. And yeah.
As you mentioned, you shot it in northern Norway, and my gosh, it looks so cold on the screen. There's all this snow, there's these gorgeous reindeer walking around. Is it hard to shoot a film somewhere that has that much snow, that's cold? I mean, logistically, did the cameras need adjusting when you're shooting somewhere like this?
It was as cold as you could imagine and see. Observe. So regarding camera, we packed it very well, so we could use it in many hours outside locations. Believe it or not, we asked it before in the pre-production. We asked it. Norwegian production managers, several, to join me to North. And they said, Hisham, I love your films. I really want to join you, but not to North because it's too cold. So imagine being native Norwegian and feeling it's cold, then it's really cold. So I think we had one day where it was minus 28. When I was in film school in Lillehammer, minus 18 is the limit. When it's minus below that, you can't shoot. But then we had this different rooms where we could run in and out, and we had car in the background working to keep them warm. They could run into the car, so we kind of managed. And the days could be very different. Some days very cold, and I think this also makes the characters also a bit more fragile. They pack themselves more in. They become more. The feeling of loneliness is more present when it's cold. When I think also in reality, not only on film. So I wanted to capture this thing in the cold environment. I think the film would be totally different if we shot it in a hot summer with t-shirt.
It looks so cold. Felt cold just watching it, yeah. And but it adds to the isolation of these characters. The young people are just amazing, and I was curious how you cast them. Are they professional actors? Are they newcomers? How did you work with them? Did it make you feel young working with these teenagers?
It's very inspiring to work with teenagers because, like you said, you kind of revisit your own past when you were 18. And how did you dress? How did you talk? And how did you? What dreams did you have? The casting is like my previous films, we find them in basically around everywhere in streets. Hamid, we found him Salah, played by Salah. We found him in a bus station where he was actually skipping school that day with his friends. So Nina Ardal, which is the casting manager, she went and asked them, do you want to come and do this casting? And they were like, yeah, sure, we go to Hollywood. Why not? We come. So they were like almost not believing that this is happening. And then I got the tapes and looked at him. And in the beginning, he was not for the main. He was more for the leader character. I tried and even made a pilot with him. And then we changed him to be the poet. So the same with the other. I think he was working in a school where he had responsibility for the technique or for the data, everything to be on the screen. And then he got this text from us, can you put this on the screen so the school kids can see it and maybe come to the casting? But he himself was watching it and thought, I can go to that too. So he took this opportunity, meeting up, and then he got this role. And all of them, what is unique about them is like, for me, they are exceptional talents. They are so good. I could make several movies with them. But the thing is, they grow fast because Hamid was 14 when I met him. And now soon we gonna have premiere and he's 18. One of the kids was 17. He became 18 during the shoot. So they absolutely have this naturalistic approach to the characters, but also it was something very beautiful. Salah, who plays Hamid, he told me, Hisham, I'm not a refugee. I am born here, or I came here as a kid, to 2 years old, but you are telling my father's story. My father was refugee. So in somehow he's putting himself into this cold environment because to tell his father's story. It's beautiful.
And do you hope that the film, maybe some politicians would see the film, or just people could maybe help change some of these immigration policies that you get sent home when you're 18? Do you think a film can change that kind of policy?
I doubt that it can change it directly, but I think it can affect our conscience and our way of our attitudes toward these kids. Because in somehow they exist and they are there, but we should kind of acknowledge it and not pretend that they don't exist. So I believe it's also a film for everyone, but also for politicians that caring about human life and human dignity. And it is about human dignity. It is about this youth that has made this long way, and we even put them in a system where we give them courses to learn Norwegian. We integrate them so well. And ironically, my characters, they are also talking Northern Norwegian, not only Norwegian, which is very hard. They speak this dialect. So they become a part of the country. But then suddenly we tell them, you know what, we actually kept you just for a while, and then you have no right to stay. So this is harsh. This is harsh, and because it's harsh, it's also absurd because you don't understand it. And I think if it's absurd for me and you, it must be also absurd for a politician if he only gives the film a chance and watch it. I don't know.
It's very exciting. The film will have its world premiere in Toronto, and I agree. It's very universal. The feelings and emotions and the people in this story. What do you hope that an international audience can take away from watching this film, or maybe the Norwegian audience too? What do you hope they'll think about with this film?
It's very nice to have the film world premiere in Toronto because it kind of opens another door to the film. I don't know how. I think yesterday during Haugesund Film Festival here, I met someone that said because we have a closed screenings
for the industry.
for the industry only, and they said she saw the film and she was really felt it was a very, very rich journey for her. So she said there are moments there that I wish to understand or to go into more, or to because she was so emotionally affected. So she said, I am going to watch it again. And I think this is the nicest thing you can tell a filmmaker, that she enjoyed it, or she also felt the theme was important and she wanted to understand it more. So I think I look also forward to see how something we locally or in Norway thematically have put on screen has effect far away from us outside Europe, how this theme is playing for audience there, because the problem must be the same, the struggle must be the same, but maybe different way of treating the kids coming to different countries. So I think but one thing is sure, the politic against refugees and these minors more or less is starting to look alike in US and everywhere else. In somehow we are alienating them a bit more and more. And cinema that's why important to not humanize them, not alienate them. So I think if you look at them and if you saw the film, and they're actually for me not very different from Norwegian kids. They can fight, they can love, they can joke, and they can be silly. And this is what I think A Happy Day also represents. That it portrays it not from my perspective, because I have been a refugee. It's not that important. Of course, I have this access to their life and easy for me to go into research. But it is about how you can tell a story from their perspective, from their premise, like they put the premise, not you. You only show it the way they would talk. That's how I also direct the kids. They say, how can I do it? I say, you do it just like the way you would do it in life. That's how you say it. Just like you talk with your brother or with your sister or with your friends. I think this has been very important, because we are dealing with a real subject, and then we put it in a fictional setting. So to keep the reality all the time has been always one of my thing in my films. Yeah.
Yeah, it really feels authentic and real, but also very entertaining. This story and these kids you're going to fall in love with them a bit. So Hisham, congratulations on A Happy Day, and best of luck in Toronto. Thank you.